Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make my little version of Belle. She's a little tiny tot and I think really cute. So what we're going to do first, let me explain the colours that you're going to need and the items that you're going to need. You're going to need some stitch markers. You don't have to use these locking ones. These are my favourite ones. They're a clover locking little device and I love them, but you can use anything really. You can use a paper clip, you can use a safety pin, C clip, S clip, a bobby pin, anything like that, that's fine. You're going to need some 9mm toy safety eyes. They have the little washer on the back. I like to click them shut just so that they click once past and then they don't come undone. So you're going to need 2 of those. For her rose, you're going to need red and green, or whatever colour you choose for your rose. I'm using caramel for the hair and skin tone, and then I'm using white just to do around the top of the bodice and for the sleeves, gold to distinguish between the white and the yellow. And what else? Some stuffing. That's what you'll need as well. We do stuff these. Okay, I use the synthetic polyfiber, which I really like. It's very soft, it's very light, and it's not very expensive. You can get it from your local craft shop. So what I thought we'd do first is get the arms and the little rose out the way, so that and the little bun on the top of the head out the way. They're the little bits that we add on. So let's do the rose first. You're going to need some green bands and some red bands. And what we're going to do is take a green band, wrap it around your hook once, twice and 3 times for the end cap. Now we're going to cap these bands as we use them. So take a single green, stretch it, figure 8, loop it on itself and slide your end cap over and reclaim. We're going to do this 8 times. So that was 1. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we can put our green away. We're going to change to red. You're going to pull back 1 red band through the center here. You're not capping it, it's just going to be like that. Okay, and you're then going to chain another one. So you have 2 red bands. Go back through those 4 little loops. Now there's 4 little loops of green because you capped the band. You're going to pull through another single red band, and before you do anything, you're not going to reclaim it like this. Before you do that, you're going to keep one side of the loop here. This little loop here, you're going to add over the top of it like that, and then reclaim. Okay, and then you're going to take a single red band and pull it through all. You can do that again. Go through the 4 little loops of green, single red band, pull it through, add this loop here, this one that's at the closest to the end. Okay, so go through just the one side of it like that and reclaim. So you've got 3 loops and join them together, and then one more time go through, pull it through, add that loop here, just the one, and reclaim, and go through with a red. Now we're going to go through the green one more time. This time, instead of using red bands, you're going to go back and grab 1 more green band. You're going to pull it through and you're going to put both of those red loops on it, like so, and tie over like so. Okay, poke the bottom end with your end cap through the loop that's on your hook. Okay, that's once. You're going to twist it and do it again. So let's twist it once and pop that again through. Now you can twist that and do it as many times as you like. I've just done it twice so that it sort of looks like the stem of the flower. And there we have our little flower that will go through her hand when we're ready. I've done 2. You can have 2 through her hand. It really doesn't matter. But there we go. That's what we've done for her little flower. Next, we're going to do her arms. I'm going to use 2 colours, skin tone and white. So I'm going to start by doing a magic ring with skin tone of 8. Now you have to do this twice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And 1 for your hook. Okay, now you're going to go through and go once and twice around your hook, and we're going to make a magic ring of 8. So here's our first band. Now remember, if you don't have fingernails, and mine all broke the other day, to grab hold of your little end cap, you can use a stitch marker to go through it to hold them for you, which sometimes makes things a little easier. Remember, you're going through 3 loops. So you have 3 loops on your hook like that. Now for your first band, do your little knot. Go through again for your end cap and do your second stitch. And then through again, do your third stitch. Fourth stitch. Usually around 4 bands you can take that off. You've got a little something to hang on to. And if you don't like doing it that way, use your peg of your loom. That works perfectly as well. If you don't need either, even better. That's what we aim to get to eventually. That this is second nature and you don't need any sort of assistance. You can just do it with your hook. So there we go. There's our 8 little bands. Now we're doing 8 rounds of 8 bands. Okay, so you're not going to be increasing or decreasing. It's just 8 rounds. Now we're going to do, let's count. We've got 1 and 2. We've got 2 rounds in white. Okay, so we have to have 2 rounds in white, but I like to have 2 rounds of skin tone to connect to the arms. Okay, so we're doing 8 rounds here. So let's see, that's yep, so that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we're going to do 4 rounds in skin tone, 2 rounds in white, 2 rounds in skin tone. Okay, I haven't done that, so you've got trying to do it out in the way so you can see. So 4 rounds in skin tone, 2 rounds in white, and then another 2 in skin tone. And these, I just keep these here so that they mark how many rounds I'm doing and what round I'm actually on, because otherwise it gets confusing. So push your hook through your first one, take your first band from your counting rounds, pile, and do a slip stitch. Oh, not a slip stitch, a single crochet. Put your stitch marker onto that. Now we're going around doing a single crochet in each of these stitches. So we did 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Go through your next stitch and again take your little one from the pile that we're counting over here, move your stitch marker to it, and around we go again. And we're going to do this, as I said, until we've gone 8 rounds. So I'm going to do 1 with you and you are going to do 2. I'm using the Rainbow Loom new silicone skin tone bands. I really like the colour and I love that they're silicone, so they're not going to rot the same way that the rubber bands do, but you will find at this stage that you will need to lubricate them. I have talked to Tune, and he is confirming that in March we should be able to buy from the Rainbow Loom web store the lubricant that Rainbow Loom use on their bands. And so when you are working with bands that don't have that sort of slidey feel to them, you'll be able to just pour your bands into like a Ziploc bag and put a drop or two of the lubricant in, and swish it around through your bands, and they will feel gorgeous and easy to do your Loomigurumi with. For actually working on the loom, I don't think it would matter that they're not as slippery, or not slippery, that they don't slide nicely, they sort of bunch up. Although I have had other friends that have said, and they do bracelet work, that they did not find them easy to work with either. So once we have that lubricant, I think it will make a world of difference. So look out for that in March. So around we go. I hope you're enjoying these little tiny tots. I know it's taken me a while to get through all of them. I've got so many ideas of different ones to do, and I never seem to get them all done. This is my last stitch in skin tone. Oops, says she, and letting them all unravel. Now I'm going to change to white and do 2 rounds in white. So pushing through my first stitch, grab my white band and do a slip stitch. Okay, let's try that again. Slip stitch, there we go. Move your stitch marker to it, and we're doing 2 rounds, still only 8 stitches, so that'll be 16 bands in total to do 2 rounds of white. Okay, now skip your slip stitch, go into your first stitch, grab your next white band, single crochet, move your stitch marker to it, and around we go again for our second round in white. And then we change back to skin tone. My last stitch in the white. Now we have 2 rounds of skin tone, so go through your first stitch, change to skin tone by doing your slip stitch to change colours, move your stitch marker to that new stitch, and around we go in skin tone. My last round, skip the slip stitch, go through the real stitch, grab your band, this is my last round, move your stitch marker, and around we go. So that was our first stitch, this is second, third, fourth, fifth, six, 7 and 8, and that's how many we're supposed to have, 8. Okay, you're going to go through your first stitch and do a slip stitch, pull it through, add the loop and do a slip stitch. You can take your stitch marker off, go to about the second one next to it, so this one here, and marry it up with one on the opposite side, do another slip stitch, and you're not joining them together, you're using these as anchor bands. And then we're trying to go to the end here, so the 2 on the end, let's try and get them, these 2 here, and let's marry them up with maybe, that's 1, I want 2 on the other side, these 2 here, and do another slip stitch, and there we have our 3 little anchor bands. I'm going to pop these onto a stitch marker because I have enough stitch markers to do that, but you could use a bobby pin, as I said, or an C-clip or S-clip on each of these, and just keep that until we're ready to add our arms. We're going to make another one. I'm going to do that off camera because I don't want to waste your time. The next thing we need to do is her little bun. We're going to do a magic ring of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so let's do, I'm using caramel for the bun. So we have 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That band decided to go walkabout. So magic ring, 1 and 2, and let's do 5. Remember, you can use your stitch marker to help you, or your fingers, or your loom peg, doesn't matter. I have to say, it's much easier to do this without having any help if I had nails, and I don't know what happened. I must have lifted something or carried something funny. I broke about 4 nails yesterday. So I've done my magic ring of 5. I'm going to do an increase in each stitch. So that's going to take us to 10 around. Here's our first one. I'm going to grab another stitch marker and pop that on my band to mark my beginning. I'm going back into that stitch to do my second, my increase. Now let's do 2 in this one. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 2, my last one, 1 and 2. Back to my first stitch. I'm going to go in, I'm going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, change my stitch marker. In the second stitch I'll do an increase. 1 and 2, a single crochet, and increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and increase. That's our last stitch for this round. We're going to do the next round just single crochet. So go through the first stitch, you're going to change your stitch marker to this stitch, and we just do single crochet all the way around. Our next round is going to be single crochet followed by a decrease. So here's our single crochet, move your stitch marker, and now we do a decrease. I'm going to go through both loops. So I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm not doing the hidden decrease. I'm going to do the 4 loops, single crochet, and a decrease through both stitches like that. I sometimes twist my hook when I do a decrease because I find the stitch sort of jumps off my hook, and I don't know if you'll find it easier or not. I go through one, go through the next, pull my band through the normal way, but then I twist it away from me and bring it back, and I find that stops it from falling off my hook. I don't know. Might help you, might not. We all have our own little ways of doing things, don't we? Whoopsie. Let's try and catch that before it all unravels. Come back. I'm going to finish on a decrease. There we go. Now, this is about the size of the bun that I want. You can stuff it, but you don't have to. I'm going to go through and do a slip stitch like this and move my stitch marker to it. And I'm going to just hang on to it like this. But what I'm also going to do when I actually attach it is have extra little bands. Like I'm going to go like a clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and have these little anchor bands. So if you want to add those now, you can. If you want to wait, that's all right too. But you're going to put them north, south, east, west, I suppose you could almost call it. And you're sort of going every two bands is an anchor band. So there's my anchor bands, and when I attach it to the head, I will put a tiny bit of stuffing in just to keep it with shape. You don't have to. So the next thing we're going to do is start work on her hair and her head and her little body. So we're going to start by doing the top of her head, and I'm using caramel. I'm going to do a magic ring of 6. If you need to use a stitch marker to help you, that is perfectly okay. You just pop it in like so. One, back through again. 2. Make sure you go through all 3 loops. 3, 4. You can usually take your ring out, your stitch marker out. 5, and our last one, 6. Spread them around so that they are a circle, not a semicircle. And we're now going to do an increase in each and every stitch. So that's going to take us from 6 stitches to 12. So pop your hook through the first stitch, pull back, and you're going to put your stitch marker right on that one. And then go back into that first stitch and do your second single crochet. We're doing 2 in each stitch, going from 6 to 12. So our next round is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase. Pop your hook through, and this will take us to 18 stitches around. So that was a single, now doing an increase. Oopsie. Single. Increase. Single. Increase. Single. And you finish on an increase. You now have 18 stitches. For this next round, we're going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. But on our 9th stitch around, well actually it's the 8th stitch around, we're going to start using skin tone. So I'm going to, because we've got 18 stitches here, I'm going to count to my 9th stitch and put a marker there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is number 9 right here. I'm going to put my hook through and drag a skin tone. And I know that either side of this band we have to do a skin tone as well. Okay, so this is just a marker to show that we're halfway at that point. So our first single crochet, change our stitch marker. Our second single crochet and an increase. 1 and 2. A single crochet, a single crochet, and an increase. So 1 and 2. A single crochet. Now this next stitch, okay, is the one before I've got this, so it's going to be a single crochet in skin tone, but because we're changing colour it needs to be a slip stitch. And now we do our increase. 1 and back through, 2. The next stitch in the pattern is a single crochet, and then the next stitch in the pattern is another single crochet, but we're going to have to do a slip stitch because of the colour change, followed by an increase. Single crochet, single crochet, increase. single crochet, single crochet, and you finish on an increase. 1 and 2. Okay, so this is the start of our face. We're now going to do 8 rounds. So take your bands and you're going to put your little bands here marking that you've got 8 rounds to do. And every time we get to the beginning and the end of the skin tone, we add to it. So our first round, and this is just single crochet, okay, we're not doing increasing or decreasing, we're just doing single crochet all the way around. And at this stage you should have 24 stitches, and you're not going to go up from that for the face. So for these 8 rounds, every time we start from the stitch marker and we come up to the last stitch before we change colour, you need to do that last brown or the last caramel in a skin tone. So pull your skin tone through, do a slip stitch. You miss this slip stitch and go into the real stitch, and you're still doing just single crochets. In the last skin tone, you go through, you do a skin tone, and as you can see, this pulls across to the next stitch. You miss the slip stitch, go into the real stitch and do a slip stitch because you have the colour change, and then you just keep going round doing your single crochets. I'll do one more round with you so that you get the hang of the colour change, and then you're going to do the remainder by yourself so we don't take too much time on our video. It's very odd not having longer nails. I think you don't realise what you use them for until they're gone. So this is my last stitch for this round. So again, I'm going to take my new stitch for the first stitch from this little pile here, move my stitch marker to it, and around we go again. Single crochets with the brown until I get to that stitch, the brown stitch prior to the skin tone. So this is my second last brown. Here's my last brown. I'm going through it with a skin tone, slip stitch, miss the slip stitch that's here for the colour change, go into the real stitch and do my single crochets. On the last skin tone, I do a skin tone. I skip the slip stitch, go into the real stitch and do a slip stitch for this round, and then go all the way around in the caramel. So I'm going to let you do the next rounds by yourself. We have another 6 to go, and I will meet you back when we have all done those further 6 rounds, and we will start with our decreasing for our little face. Well, we'll actually probably put the bun on, but we'll see how we go. We might do the decreasing first. So around I go until I get to my stitch marker. First stitch, take one from my little counter pile, move my stitch marker to it, and around we go again. And remember what I said, as you're doing your skin tones, this last one you do a skin tone in. This last one, you do a skin tone in, and then you swap. Okay, but make sure you miss your slip stitches. I'm going to catch you back when we've all done our further 6. So I'm back, and I have done my 8 rounds in total. I had this 6 extra to do, so hopefully you've done your 6 as well. So now what we're going to do, I had my hook out, so I'm going to put my hook back on my last stitch there, my last little one. So this is my first stitch, this is my last stitch. What we need to do now is do a round of single crochet, decrease. And it does get tricky because you have the skin tone still in here. So this single crochet, which is our first stitch, is going to be a skin tone. So you do a slip stitch. Put your stitch marker on there. Missing your slip stitch, go into your next stitch for a second single crochet. Now we're doing a decrease. You're going to go through the back loops only. One back loop here, and then the next stitch, that back loop, and do a decrease. If I can get my bands separated. 1, 2, join together and join. And then again, single crochet, and decrease. As you can see, I did put my eyes where I fancied them to be. You can do the same at this point. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet. Now the next stitch, you're going to skip the slip stitch. Is a single crochet, or supposed to be, but we have to do a slip stitch because we're changing colour. And then a decrease. And you've changed to your caramel. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease for our last stitch. So our next round is a single crochet followed by a decrease. So skipping the slip stitch, go into your real stitch and do a single crochet in skin tone, but it's actually the slip stitch because you're changing colour. Move your stitch marker to it. So now we do a decrease. Oopsie, let's try that again. 1 and 2. Single crochet. As I mentioned, these are the silicone Rainbow Loom bands. They're a little trickier to work with. And a decrease. Single crochet. And a decrease. Whoopsie, come back here you. No, I'm just going to do that one again. Single crochet. Now we change colour into a decrease. Skip your slip stitch. You're doing a decrease in the brown. Now because you're changing colour, you have to add this loop to it, like so. And then a single crochet and a decrease. Single crochet and a decrease, and this is our last stitch. Okay, so this is our little head. Now, if you wanted to, at this stage would be a good time to put the bun on the back of her head. So I'm just going to link this loop onto my stitch marker. If you don't have the locking kind, just use another stitch marker just to hold it in place. You're going to approximate, first of all, you're going to find out where your magic ring is, and my magic ring is right slap bang there in the middle. Okay, so then you're going to work out roughly where you want this little bun to be. You want it behind the magic ring. You don't want it at the same spot as the magic ring. You want it behind, and you're going to try and have it line up in the middle here. So there's the middle of the brown, so you're probably about here for where the bun is going to be. It's kind of up to you, really. So taking this off, let's take some C-clips, and I'm going to pop these on the end of these little anchor bands. Oops, if my fingers will cooperate. And I'm going to use these just to hold these anchor bands without untying. So each of these anchor bands is going to have a little C-clip on the end of it. Like so. Now these little C-clips I'm going to use, see, come back here you. So I've got 4 of them. I want them on the outside, like so. Okay, I'm going to use these little C-clips. Let's get these other ones out the way. So there's my magic ring. Okay, so working out where I'm going to be, I want to be halfway. So I'm going to pop my hook through, and I'm going to pull one band through here, and I'm going to just thread my little C-clip through like this. Oh, if I can get my hook undone. There we go. So there's my C-clip gone through. I'm going to find the next spot, and I want it to be the 6 o'clock position. So I'm going to skip this one and use this one, and I'm going to poke it again through where I think it should be. Now you can move these. Okay, so I'm now doing this side, and let's see roughly where I want to be. Maybe here. Let's push it through and see how it looks. So you want it between there. So you've got one here, so you're going to have one in the middle. So we'll try it about here. And the same on the other side. Let's see, there's our little anchor band hiding inside our bun. You've got one here, so about the middle might be here. So let's see how that looks. I think that could be positioned about right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn this inside out a little bit, just like that. I'm going to take hold of one. Let's take this C-clip off. I'm never very good at taking C-clips off, I have to admit. Here's my first one, and there's my second. I'm going to take the C-clip off the second, one over the other. Here's my third band. Put it on my hook and take the C-clip off, one over the other. Here's my last one. Put it through my hook, take the C-clip off, one over the other, and then I'm going to go back up to where my first one was and go through a couple of the little loops here at the back, and I'm going to do a tie-off band like so, and pull tight and flip it back the other way. So once you have the bun secured to your liking, which I have now, you're going back to the neck area. So pop your hook through your last stitch and leave your stitch marker on the first stitch. What we're going to be doing is working in the back post. Now this was the last stitch that we worked in here, so we're going through from the back to the front. We're skipping the little slip stitch here and going from the front to the back of this first stitch. Now I know that you've got a thicker amount of bands to go through. It's not actually going to matter too much. Pull your skin tone band through and add the brown loop. You're almost doing a slip stitch as your first one over the other, and then move your stitch marker to that particular stitch. And then we're going around working in this back post, and you'll notice when we don't have a colour change, it is actually a lot easier to do. So that was 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here we have, again, you've got your slip stitch here in the brown, so this one here is just normal. 7, but now we go through and you've got to skip the slip stitch, so you've got this big wodge again. Don't worry about it. 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is going to be our last one, 12. Okay, so that is the little neck. We're now stretching from here. You're missing the slip stitch, which is this little pink one here, and going into the real stitch with a single crochet. Move your slip stitch. Okay, now this round is a single crochet followed by an increase. So we did our single crochet, now we do an increase. So that's 2 in the same stitch. Single crochet, make sure you go through both loops, and an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Oops, here we go. Let me check I did that right. I'm not happy with that. Let's check. If in doubt, redo. There we go. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, and our last stitch will be an increase. Now stretch these out so that they're evenly spaced, like so. Okay, and this is how her little face is looking so far. Now if we have a look at the one that I finished, you can see that now we're going to do, that was a single crochet, that was the next one. We'll do one more round in skin tone, and then we're going to change and go to white. And then we have 2 rounds of gold, So I'm going to put these here. So I've got skin tone white, 2 of gold, just so that I know my colours that I'm working on. Okay, so our next round is going to be single crochet, increase. Go through your first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker. Oops, come on you. There we go. The next stitch, single crochet, and then an increase. These are tricky bands to work with. 1, 2, single crochet, single crochet, and increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and increase. Oops. Spread these out if you feel that it's a bit tight. Single crochet, single crochet, yay, increase, single crochet, single crochet, and we finish on an increase. Now I know that my next round is going to be white, so I'm going through that first stitch and I'm going to take a white band and do my slip stitch and put my stitch marker on that. Okay, and I have 3 rounds to do, the round of white and then the 2 rounds of gold. Okay, I'm going to put this aside for 1 minute and we're going to attach our arms, which is quite important. So the arms, I have my little anchor bands, which we did, and if you remember, we try and put number 2, our second anchor band here, our first anchor band the other side, so about here, so 1, 2, and then 3. So let's do that the same on the other side, 1, 2, 3, in these holes that we have available. Undo your anchor band and pinch these so that you're not going to lose them. This is one hole that we're going through, but this is our first one that we're going through. So pull your first anchor band through and then go in through your second space, pull the second one. You're keeping these on your hook so you don't lose them. Okay, let's go through the third, like so. I'm going to take the first stitch off and go these one over the other, and then these one over the other. Find a loop to hook these through, and I'm going to tie off. And I'm going to use a skin tone to tie off because that's the predominant colour that these both are. So there we go, that's one side. Let's make sure I like where that is. That will work. Okay, so the other side, this is going to be 2, so this one, and this one. So let's go through the first one. Let's grab our arm, pinch these so that your anchor bands don't untie. If they do, it doesn't matter, they're easy enough to grab. Okay, so pinch, Let's grab the first one, go through the second hole, grab the second one, go through the third hole, grab the third one, pull them all through so that you've got them all on your hook, one over the other, one over the other, and then again through a couple of the little loops on the inside with a tie-off band and pull tight. So that's your second arm attached. As I said, we're now changing colour to the white. But what I'm going to do first is do the little fringe around here and the back of her hair. Okay, so I'm going to use the caramel still. And I'm starting at the top here. I'm going to go through and pop out. What I want to make sure that I do is just be on this part, this brown part of the stitch. And you're going to go through, drag a band back, reclaim, and chain one, so that you have a little chain of two. Then you go to the next stitch, and I'm in the white, the skin tone part, okay? And I'm going to pull back and drag through the two that were on my hook, and then chain another. And again, into this next one. Pull the band through, all of them, and chain one. Pull the band through, all of them, and chain one. And this is how I do the bangs, or the side of the hair, I guess. It's like a little frill around. And I do it before I do the stuffing, because when you have the stuffing in there, it can get messy and the stuffing can come through. So I just think it's easier to work when you're not having to avoid bits of fluff. We're going to go all the way around, and then we add the bits and pieces to it after the fact. Now this one is where we've had a colour change, so it's a little bit tricky, but basically you want to go through, and it doesn't matter if you've got more than one band that you're going through, but you want to go through as close as you can. I mean, you could go through here, but then you'll see this, so I'm going through up here. It will all be hidden underneath at the back anyway, so don't worry about it too much. Now when you get to this side, it's a little bit different, because the structure of the, where the bands are going is a little bit different, and I'll show you in 1 second as we get there. Pull this through. So if you have a look here, whereas before we had the brown loop to go through, now we've got these two little loops of skin tone, and that's what we have to go through on this side. So I find it quite easy to pinch the head so that I can get a grip. And you want to just make sure that you're on the two little bands, have the knotted part to the left of your hook. Whoops, nearly lost that one. I like to have the base of the hair done and then I foo-foo with it after. Now, I'm going to try and make it so that I have this first loop, which I have here, go through. So I'm going through the 2 little loops that I see here, and then I'm going to tie that one off like so. I haven't done it twice, and then I'm going to look, and I want it to go in between. It's a slightly different caramel. I opened a different packet of caramel. I can see it's very slightly different, but never mind. So poking my hook through the center of her head, I'm going to come up, and I want to be between the first, if you can have a look here, I've got a loop this side, so I'm actually in that loop. See that first loop that I did? Why I want it to be in there is because it then doesn't look so odd. It sort of joins that together so that it runs in nicely. You're going to want to sort of flip the inside of the head to the back so that you can grab another little loop and pull through to tie off. It is a different colour. How funny. 2 packets of caramel. Well, it was half a packet of one and I've just opened another one, but it's definitely a different shade of caramel, but never mind, she's got 2-tone hair. I don't mind that at all. So that's the basis of her hair. Now I have a little curl that comes down here. It's probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if we do 8. So I'm going to just grab a little stitch just in here. Doesn't matter exactly where, you can just do it where you want it to be. Just grab 2 of the little bands and you're going to chain 8. 1, I'm going to call that 2 because this is the first one is going to be 1. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I want to come back up. So I'm going to skip the 1 and 2, come into 3rd one, and do a single crochet like so. And I'm just going to come back up, and this is just to do sort of like a little tendril, I think is what they call it, isn't it? I'm not up with the lingo. So again, just come back up. And what I want to do is go in through this stitch here with my tie. So the one that I started on, I'm doing a slip stitch, and I'm going to tie that off, pull it tight, and then I want to pull that inside the head. Okay, so I'm going to pull it through the same spot that it came out of, if I possibly can. Let's find that band. Come on, there you are. Hey. There we go. Pull that inside. Now you can, if you want to, make sure it stays inside, that it doesn't pop out. All you need to do, find a loop inside. Doesn't have to be far away. And you can just thread it through. Or you can do a tie off. I'm just going to thread it through just to make sure that it doesn't come out. And that little tendril will just sort of stay like so. Now for the back of the hair, we're going to use these stitches that we have at the back of the hair to build up her hair. So I'm going to have the hair go from one side of her shoulder to the other side. So pick a spot and you're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually let's do 5. Yeah, we'll do 6. We'll do 5. We'll do 5. Go into the next stitch. Okay, so this was this one. Go into the next stitch. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th one, join these 4 loops together. Now go into the next one, and you sort of want to scoot in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on the 6th one, join the 4 loops together. You have 2 left on your hook. Find your next stitch. 1. You can do this shorter if you don't want to use as many bands. Completely up to you. Let's get rid of that manky band, and let's see another manky band. 3, 4, 5. So what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gosh, that's if I could count. There we go. 6 through all of them. Find your next stitch. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goes through all 4 loops. So you're just doing this until we get to the other shoulder. As I said, you can do 3, you can do a chain of 3, you can do a chain of 4, you can do a chain of 5, you can make it longer. Completely up to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6 goes through all 4 loops. See how this is starting to form her hair? Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, whoopsie, 4, 5, and 6. Now on our last one we're not going to do 6, so I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, next one is here. And we're going to do the 5 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we do 6. Let's see where we're at as far as measuring. So in this next one, I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one goes through all of them. So I'm just trying to make it so that it can taper down. The next stitch, if I can get my hook through it, there we go. 1, 2, pull through all 4, and this next one, 1, pull through, tie a slip knot nice and tight. So that's how I've done the tapering, and it's not 100%, but I think other than starting at the other side, I still think it looks perfectly fine. This little tie-off band, go through the centre of your doll's head and just collect it up on the inside of the hair and pull it in, and again tie it into the back of the hair if you want with a tie-off band. So just go through, grab just a band. You can do it loosely, it's just so that it doesn't go AWOL. And that is how I did the back of her hair. Okay, and you just sort of want that last one to taper down, because otherwise it looks a bit odd. But that's how I did that, and we've got that. Now you can put the rose through her hand at this stage, or you can do it at the end. It really doesn't matter. What we are going to do is our round of white. So picking up where we stopped, we're right here, around. I'm going to leave that on there because that was our first stitch. A round of single crochet in white, oops, come back. These skin tone bands are tricky to use because they're silicone and they're not very lubricated, so they sort of tangle on themselves. And I did lubricate them yesterday, but the lubrication tends to dry out. Somebody suggested, I've done a few different ones. I've tried WD-40, which is a silicone based spray. That did not work nicely at all, and it stunk to high heaven. I tried coconut oil. Somebody said, you know, coconut oil. It worked, but it was sort of slimy, not just nicely slippery, but slimy. The best one I've used is the Rainbow Loom lubricant, which is going to be available, as I mentioned, in March. But until then, somebody else mentioned baby oil, so I might give that a go and see if that is nice. So single crochet all the way around with white. She looks like she's break dancing at the minute. And then you're going to do 2 rounds in gold. Somebody on my YouTube channel asked if I was planning on doing all the princesses in tiny tot version, and yes I am. Thank you for that question. I also intend to do some superheroes. I've got so many ideas, it's not funny. So I'm back at my starting point, this is my last stitch here of skin tone. Let's count. You should have, let's see, I think it's 24 stitches. We'll try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Amazing. Love it when we get it right. So 2 rounds of gold. Here's my first of gold. I'm doing a slip stitch because it's a colour change. Spread that out if you want to. I'm going to get rid of the white bands. We don't need those. We don't need the other bands either, the caramel anymore. So around we go, doing single crochet with our gold bands. Oopsie, fumble fingers, strikes again. My last stitch of white. Now I do my second round, skip that slip stitch, go in through your real first stitch, do your single crochet, and around we go again. Don't you hate it when you have a show, a television show that you love watching, and you get to the end of the season? And I've been watching this show, this Australian show on Netflix, and I've watched 3 seasons of it all in a row. It was just fabulous. And then it just abruptly halts, and you have to wait, not only for the new season to actually be recorded and come out, but for it to make it to Netflix. I don't know what I'm going to do in my evenings. Let's get rid of those 2. They're manky bands. Not sure where I got these gold ones from. I thought they were Rainbow Loom, but some of them are rather oddly cut. Some are thick and some are thin, which that's not usual for Rainbow Loom. So this is 3 rounds of single crochet. The white one was the first round, and then 2 in the gold. Then we're going to change to our yellow, and we're going to do a bunch of different rounds in that. The first round is going to be different, and then the others will all be single crochet, so I'll let you do those. We'll do one together and then you can potter off and do them. We'll do catch up, but I'll do the first one with you where we have a couple of increases. So that's my last gold. I'm going through my first stitch here. I'm going to get rid of my gold. First stitch here, and I'm going to do yellow, okay? So let's bring my yellow over. I'm doing a single crochet, but because it's a colour change I have to do it as a slip stitch. There we go. And put my stitch marker on that. Now, this round we're going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So that was 1 single crochet, 2, and now we do an increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and 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 increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. Stretch it out just a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. We're now going to do 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 rounds, single crochet only, of yellow. So go through that first stitch, miss that slip stitch, take your first band, and around we go. I'm going to meet you back when we have all done 6 rounds of single crochet, and then we'll start our decreases together. Okay? So I have done my 6 rounds, and I've just put a little stitch marker on my last stitch, and this one is on my first stitch. I think it's time we put a bit of stuffing at least in her head. We can do the rest in a minute, but let's get her head done. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm using the polyfill 100% polyfill fibre stuffing. You want to, when you stuff, you want to make sure that you stuff enough but not too much. If you overstuff, if you put too much in, you're going to see that the bands pull apart like this, and you get these great big holes in your work, and you can see the stuffing through it, and that is very unattractive. You don't want to do that. So stuff it, even if you put a little bit too much in, and then take some out if you need to. I think that's probably about right for me. I think that is going to work for my head. Now what I'm going to do is start doing the closing of her dress. So when I have a smaller hole here, we will then stuff her body. So I'm going to put my hook back through my little stitch there. Now this first round we're going to do a single crochet on the inside loop only, so that's this one loop. Instead of going through both loops of the stitch, you're just going through this inner loop, okay, and you're just doing a single crochet just like normal. Move your stitch marker to that new stitch, and around we go, just doing single crochet in this inner stitch. Oopsie. And you can see that this changes the direction that the stitches are going in. Now I'm back to the beginning. Our next round is single crochet, followed by a decrease. So first through that first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker. Single crochet, you're going through both loops, and a decrease. Now I'm going to go through both the loops of my decrease. This is on the bottom anyway, so it doesn't really need to be a hidden decrease so much. Single crochet, and decrease. Single crochet. Whoops. Single crochet and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Now somebody is telling me that I mumble Well, I'm only mumbling the stitches so I know where I'm at. It's not anything really vitally important. Single crochet, single crochet, and our last stitch for this round is a decrease. Oops, which I'm busy letting go the whole thing of. There we go. So that's our decrease. Stretch it out just a little bit. Now you can see when you do a decrease that's not a hidden decrease, it's a lumpier effect because you've gone through 4 loops instead of 2. So it does give you a sort of lumpier effect, but it doesn't matter. As I said, when it's on the bottom, you can't see it. When it's on the top, you want to make sure that you do hidden ones. Our next round is going to be a single crochet followed by a decrease. So, first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker, and now we do a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Oopsie. Try that again. Single crochet, and a decrease. Now, I have one last stitch here, which means I've either missed one or we're at an odd number, but it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do is go through this. We're doing now single crochet, decrease again. So I am just going to do a single crochet in that one. I'm going to do a single crochet in the first stitch. This is where it really doesn't matter if you have one little stitch like that that's not correct. It's not going to be the end of the world. So we did a single crochet. Let's follow it by a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet. Oops, let's make sure, yes I am in the next one, and a decrease. Now my little hole at the bottom of her skirt is getting smaller and smaller now, which is good because I'll be able to stop and stuff and then continue with my closure. So that was a single crochet. Let's do a decrease. Single crochet, and a decrease. Now I'm going to go into the first stitch with a single crochet. I know that my next round is just going to be decrease, 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 but I want to put my hook, my stitch marker on that so that I can stuff the bottom of her dress. I'm just going to stretch it out so that those little decreases are spread out evenly. So now I'm going to take my stuffing. I'm actually going to hook this. I want it out the way, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to hook it up here for a bit. It can sit up here out the way, and then I know that I won't lose it inside her dress. So now I'm going to stuff. So I'm going to get my stuffing. And let's open the base of her skirt up a little bit, and we will give her some shape. Again, don't use too much. Don't overstuff. You will see big holes in your work, and try and get into all the little nooks and crannies. I think that's probably quite good. I can see where the gold bands, now I think the gold bands have to have been a different brand. They're not Rainbow Loom because they're slightly wider, and I can see that we have a little gap there, but I'm not too worried. I think that's going to look alright. Move the eye a bit because I don't want to see the back of the peg of it. Let's close her up. I'm going into my stitch. I'm going to take my stitch marker off. All we're doing now is decreases. So however many it's going to take, it's usually probably about 6 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 'Oopsie, let's try that one again. 7, and I'm going to do this one last one here as 8. I'm going to try. 8. I'm going to go back into 1 and do a tie off. Pull it nice and tight, and I'm going to go in here and up through the center, grab that tie off band and pull it back so that it's on the inside of my work. And that is how I tie off the bottom. As I said, with the rose, you're just going to put it in her hand. So push your hook through about where you want the rose to be. Put your hook on the end of the little end cap that we had. Gently does it. Pull it through so that you're not pulling the skin tone bands as well. Pull it just a little bit, and then you sort of want to spread the hand out a bit so that it looks like she's actually holding a rose in her hand. And there she is. That's how I did my little Belle. I really hope you like her. I think she's so cute. And there she is. There's her with her little twin. Enjoy making her. Take care. Bye.